Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to round 10 of the IFL F2 season presented by Butt Kicker. We are here at the American Grand Prix this weekend at the Circuit of the Americas. We have a 36-lap race scheduled for us this afternoon. A big field of cars out here today. It looks like 15 or 16 drivers for our field today. So one of the bigger fields we have seen for the F2 series yet this year. So COTA is such an awesome racetrack, and to have a larger field here is going to make things crazy, to say the least. There's a lot of fast sectors in here. There's a lot of tight technical sectors. It's really a really nice racetrack. Lots of braking zones and lots of passing opportunities. I believe there's 2 DRS zones for these guys. Maybe it's just the one down the backstretch, but I believe there is 2 DRS zones for these guys. They have 8 pushes of DRS in the race, but we are currently in free practice, 14 minutes left. Lewis Archer currently on top with a 148 635 or 835. So really fast lap by Lewis Archer. Lewis Cologne is right behind him with a 149.051, and Ivan Baukamp is sitting in third with a 149.159. So the top 3 all very, very close. Chris Byram, Alex Gutenek, and Daniel Thomas all right there with them. Thomas a little further off, about 8/10 off of Gutenek there in 6th place, but still very, very tight at the front of the field. And it's going to be a long race. These guys are going to have to make pit stops. They're going to have to deal with tires and tire wear, making sure they save enough fuel and they don't run out. There's going to be a whole lot. But as we see this battle right here between Lewis Archer and Alex Gutenek in practice, trying to get the feel of each other before they get out on the track. Gutenek hasn't been around too much this season here in the IFL. Been doing a lot of real racing stuff, so good to see him back out here. He's always a tough competitor, and as we see him take a really nice move there to get around that 46 car. We'll see if he can do anything in the race today. But right behind him, it's that man, Lewis Archer. He's currently in the lead of the points. If we take a look at our drivers' points at the moment, Lewis Archer is out in front of Ivan Baukamp by about 52 points. So still about 2 races ahead of Ivan Baukamp. So Baukamp has a little bit of work to do. Chris Byram and Baukamp just fighting for that second place position. Very, very tight battle there. But they are slowly reeling in Lewis Archer just a little bit. Archer's going to have to make sure that he puts down some good finishes, because we are only halfway through the season, so we do have a few more races to go, and there's still a lot of points left on the board. And with as close as the top even 4 are, with Lewis Cologne, they're right there at 94, only 6 points behind Chris Byram. Even him, if he starts having some really awesome weeks and can start really hammering down, he could possibly even catch Lewis if Lewis has some bad weeks. So there's a bunch of stuff that could go around with our driver standings, and our constructor standings is heating up a little bit more towards the middle of the field as it is towards the front. The COTA Works F2 team of Chris Byram and Lewis Archer holding out the top spot with a 100-point gap over Don Day and Lewis Cologne in Turning Point Racing. The COTA Evo F2 team is holding on to a nice third and trying to catch up to that Turning Point team. That's Ivan Baukamp and Daniel Thomas making their way up into third and trying to catch up to Turning Point, only about 30 points behind. So it ought to make for an interesting one. As well as Lumos Esports, you see Alex Gutenek's out there. He's going to try to put some points on the board. Over top, Orion Racing. Eli Cannon's been putting some points on the board every single week and working that up and getting it up in there. So there's some little mixing up going in the middle of the field, but the CUDAWorks F2 team currently absolutely dominating the constructors at the moment. With only a few more minutes left in practice, everybody is going to try to get their last-minute race dials in. They might try a spare quali run, see if they can get it down, see if they need to make any changes to their qualifying setup before they spend that 25 minutes just absolutely trying to put their time down. So probably lots going on. Almost everybody's on track. Only like 4 or 5 drivers currently in the garage area. Everybody else out on track or on their outlap. Lewis Archer, the former F3 champ from last season, trying to make it the F2 champ this season and take both. He's going to have to stay consistent as we usually see him, but we've had a couple races this season, not too many, but a couple where Lewis has gotten caught up in some stuff, and a lot of it's usually due to his starts. And we spoke a little bit earlier in the week, and he said he's much happier with where his starts are at. He's only losing a few positions on the start as opposed to 4 or 5 like some of the other starts he had earlier on in the season and maybe even last season in the F3. So Archer's working on his starts and getting those to be better, and we see what happens when he makes a mistake or has a bad start, goes further back in the field and just whomps right through the field. So if he can get some better starts, maybe he might not have to work as hard, and he might just be able to cruise a little bit more often to those pit stops and give himself a little bit easier of a race. But the guy that's not really going to try to give it easy to him is Louis Colon. He's currently in the pits. Looks like he might be trying to work on some setup stuff, but he's currently second fastest, only 2/10 off of Louis Archer's fastest lap. So Cologne really trying to make that Turning Point Racing team shine. Don Day is here. He hasn't set a lap yet, but he is here in the session. So good to see both Turning Point drivers here at the race today. But Lewis really trying to put some pressure down. He really wants to secure that second spot. Ivan and Chris Baukamp are Ivan Baukamp and Chris Byram are both going to be battling hard for that second position. But Louis Colon right there in 4th position in the standings is really going to be trying hard. As we see Louis Archer on screen losing it coming out of the last turn. So Louis Archer can make mistakes, or is he just pushing that car to where he knows where the limits are? As we take a look, we got Steve Grabowski here today. He's currently 6th fastest with the CUDA Racing School. His fastest lap right now, 1:49.754. So just 9/10 off Louis Archer at the front of the field. Grabowski usually has pretty good qualifying runs and pretty good pace, so we'll see what Grabowski can do. As we see one of the yellow cars, looks like that might be Ivan Baukamp spinning out in front of him there. But Don Day just sets the lap, and he goes 10th quickest. So nice lap for Don Day. That puts him currently in the theoretical points. Don Day was our actual initial winner at Monza for our first race of the season. Bunch of stuff happened, and Don Day drove it to the victory lane there and got things started off with a bang. And he's missed a few races, so it's good to see Don back here and trying to push for a few more points and try to get himself a little further up the standings. Grabowski running right in front of Daniel Thomas. Daniel Thomas currently in 7th on the board with a 158.37. So the Grabowski-Thomas border there is what really is separating the guys from the 49s and pretty close to the 51s, because Thomas is running a 150.8. So just shy of a 151, but everybody else behind is fairly close in the 151s. 151.0 for Tilsley, a 151.19 for Cannon, 151.39 for Don Day, and a 151.428 for Shanna. So all very, very close in the mid-pack and up front. So we should see almost two separate packs of cars dueling it out today for position, with Daniel Thomas possibly leading the second pack, with Lewis Archer leading the pack out in front. So it's going to make it for a very interesting race. We don't have a dual screen, so we're going to try to make it work and try to get everything we can. But I am almost guaranteeing you that we are going to have one action-packed race today. Chris Byram trying to improve his lap, but he runs a 150.5. He's currently sitting 4th quickest on the board, right behind Ivan Baukamp. Those two were battling it out at Watkins Glen last week, and Ivan Baukamp came on top. So Chris Byram's definitely going to be ready to go and try to get Baukamp here and get some revenge from last week, because Chris looked like he was really on point to win that race up until pit stops happened. And Ivan Baukamp just got out in front, and he just had a little bit too much extra space in front of him, and Byram wasn't able to catch Baukamp. So pit stops were the call for last week. Will they be the call here at COTA this week, or is it all going to be about speed? I mean, there's two very crazy sections of the racetrack. You can see on the track map up in the right-hand corner, the straights are straight, and when you go to turn, they are all over the place. So you really have two entirely different sections of the racetrack. You've got a low downforce area and a high downforce area, and when you have to try to mix the two up, it gets absolutely nuts. So we'll have to see what these guys do to make sure that their car is good in all sections, and we'll see who comes out on top overall. And we got about 2 minutes left in practice here before we get to qualifying. Lewis Archer currently on top of the speed charts. Louis Cologne in second, and as we see Chris Byram go across the line, he goes third, and Steve Grabowski jumps across the line to the top of the charts with a 149.280. Sorry, that's a 148.280. Way quicker than the 48.8 that Archer put down. So what a lap by Steve Grabowski. Wow, 148.2. That is a lap, no doubt. Ivan Baukamp gonna come across with a 148.7 as we enter the final minute of practice. Almost everybody getting ready to go into the pit lane, switch over to that qualifying setup, and get set and ready to go. 25 minutes of open practice 16 cars here scheduled to go off on the grid. And the American Grand Prix is going to be amazing to watch. Make sure you stay tuned. Big thanks to Butt Kicker, Major's Garage, and LTD Designs, big sponsors here. They help out a lot with our prizes and different stuff to help make sure we get some awesome people here in the league. And man, do we have some amazing drivers, amazing talent, and some amazing competition here in the IFL F2 and F3 division, which you can check out tomorrow afternoon, same time, 3:45 Eastern Time. And we jump into qualifying session, 25 minutes, the green lights are on. Who will we get on track first? Looks like it might be Steve Grabowski. He's making a break for it early. And there it is. All of our drivers already out of pit road. Many of them still to come. Chris Byram coming out of the pits. Alec Gutenek coming out of the pits now. Alright, you made it through the last technical section. Now here is your first driver out, Steve Grabowski. Let's take a ride along with him and see what... Actually, that's not a very good camera, is it? Take a ride along with him and see what a lap around COTA is all about. Sharp uphill left-hander. And then we go down the hill into a really crazy portion of the track. You got to watch out for these little yellow curbs in the center. They will catch you and throw you off guard, really damage your car. Got to make sure you do not hit them. There's another one here in this corner. Very, very technical section. Come out one last yellow curb, and now you've got a long, fast downhill into a hairpin. And this is where we'll see a lot of attempts to pass, but you see how much room's down there. Once you turn into the corner, that room disappears real fast. It looks like there's room in that corner, but there's really not a lot. So those are areas we're going to have to keep a look on. We got another DRS zone coming down the back straightaway into a very hard left-hand corner. We're going to see some attempts at passing here as well. And right after this hard left-hand corner, we get into a very technical section of the racetrack with the horseshoe in the center. Lots of braking required here in that corner. You might see some people locking their tires up and losing a position, just misjudging that corner. And then this triple right here can really throw you off and send you to the outside if you don't hit it just right. So lots of technical stuff, even though it may be a little fast. And then these last two corners really sets you up to the fast front straightaway with the DRS zone. So as he comes across the line, what kind of time is Grabowski going to put down? It's a 148.833. So coming out first lap and setting something pretty high. Or it's an 839, so pretty quick. Baucamp comes across with a 49.334. Cannon coming around. Looks like Alex Gutnick's getting ready to come out on his first lap. It looks like he may have had an off track. Chris Springer goes off the track. He's going to have one, and Don Day's coming up right behind him. Don Day does not set a lap. And we have Alexander Shanna out here in the number 42. Got a different looking car, it looks like, this weekend. Coming out, can he set fast time? And he does not set a time either, so it looks like a few of these drivers having a rough time keeping it on track so far. Only had 3 drivers get a lap down as we see Shanna go off and wreck. Big break for him. Louis Colon is out on track. He's really pushing it. Getting ready to come set a time. Looks like he might have gone off track there just a little bit. And no, he's going to go up to third quick with a 1:49.057. Still needs to go a little quick, but a nice secure lap to put him up in a good spot, and he gets really loose, and he's going to have to invalidate that lap because that lap is not going to help him. Chris Byram goes up to third quickest. He's got a 1:48.889, so knocking on the door of Steve Grabowski and Ivan Baukamp, who's now up at the top with a 1:48.507. And Lewis Archer currently on track, making his first flying lap. Can he knock Baukamp down, or is it going to take him a couple laps? Track is actually pretty crowded right now. There's quite a few drivers on the racetrack. Louis Colon currently fourth. Steve Grabowski retakes the top spot with a 1:48.444. Moves Baukamp to second. And as Louis Archer exits the technical section to come out onto the straightaway, Archer up to 6th place with a 1:50.070. We got Stuart Gibbons here with Wolfpack Racing. He's coming out of the horseshoe at the moment. Gonna try to put a lap down here. And move him up to 9th position. A nice steady lap, 1:52.985. So he gets a good lap on the board. Drivers yet to still set a lap. Eric Beddoes, Nicholas Marshall, Alexander Shanna, Lauren Tilsley, Alex Gutnick, Steve Bunting, and Chris Springer. So we are 9 minutes into qualifying. And half our field is set a time. Steve Grabowski up on top. Ivan Baukamp trying to take him down. Daniel Thomas actually coming across the line right now. Can he improve his time? And no, he's not. That lap's going to be invalidated And right behind him is a couple fast guys, Louis Cologne and Chris Byram. And Cologne doesn't improve his lap. Looks like Gutenek does not get a lap down. Chris Byram sets a nice lap, a 148.463, 200ths of a second off Grabowski's time. Definitely able to pick that up. So he's going to go for another shot. Can Ivan Baukamp take him out? Lauren Tilsley moves up to 5th place on the grid for her first F2 start. She knocks Daniel Thomas down to 6th and Lewis Archer down to 7th. Fastest currently. 15 minutes left to go in qualifying. Steve Grabowski up on top. Chris Byram 3rd. Ivan Baukamp 4th. Louis Cologne 5th. And Lauren Tilsley in 6th. Daniel really trying to improve his time. Currently 6th quickest. And once again, looks like his lap is invalidated. So Thomas may be having a hard time keeping it on track. This track definitely has a few spots where you can easily go off track without really trying. Alexander Shannon just puts up a time. He moves up to 10th quickest with a 151.640. And Alex Gutenek just moves up to 5th quickest with a 149.260. Move Gutenek up into the top 5 with the Lumos Esports Academy car. And Lauren Tilsley re-answers with a 148.895 up to 4th position. Knocks Louis Cologne down to 5th. And Gutenek down to 6th. Nice lap for her. Currently riding in what looks to be a McLaren paint job. An independent driver here. Looking to start up a team here for the IF2. So first race for her, we'll see what she can do. Currently 4th quickest on the board behind Baukamp, Byram, and Grabowski, who's out on top at the moment. Out on track trying to put in another fast lap. Only 3 drivers yet to qualify so far. Beddoes, Marshall, and Springer. Everybody else has set a lap time down. Steve Grabowski is not going to pick up his time there. Still the time to beat, 148.444. And as we look at Grabowski, we have another driver. Looks like he just registered up. Jason Simons, the teammate for Steve Grabowski in the CUDA Racing School car. So that brings us up to 17 drivers now registered for this race. So an ever-growing field here in the F2 division, and it is going to make it interesting. Louis Archer jumps up to 4th position with a 148.782. The top 4 only separated by 0.3 of a second. The top 5 only separated by a half a second. So incredible running by these drivers up front. It's going to make for a pretty incredible race to see here. Once again, we'll take a look here, quick a moment. at what our race is going to be about, well, we've got a second. It's 66 degrees outside there, and the track temperature is 79 degrees, so they don't have too much heat to really worry about. 36 laps the distance, and they have one pit stop they got to deal with. So it's going to be, I feel like, a little bit of a race of attrition with as many cars that are showing up right now. And how technical this track is, you're really going to have to keep your car clean, keep it straight, and sacrifice some time, some spots, to make sure you do so, and not put yourself into a vulnerable position. That's definitely going to be one of the big keys to the race today. As we get 10 more minutes now left of qualifying, 10 minutes left. This gives these drivers maybe 2 more chances at coming out if they're already out on track right now. So time starting to wind down, 15 minutes in. Steve Grabowski out in front, Chris Byram second, Ivan Balkamp third, Lewis Archer in fourth, and Lauren Tilsley holding on to the fifth position with a 148.895. Louis Cologne in the Turning Point racing car, currently 7th on the board, trying to pick up his time. Don Day moves up to 8th position with a 149.561 and improves on his time. And Louis Cologne's lap was invalidated, so he did not get a time down on that lap to improve on. Ivan Balkamp about to come out of the final corner. Can he pick it up? He's currently third. No, 148.591, 9/900ths slower than his fastest lap. So he's getting there. He's close, but he's only got to knock a tenth down, and he can get that. One more lap. He's going to try it out. Lauren Tilsley about to come out of the final corner. Can she pick up from her 5th position right now? As we see one of the Wolfpack drivers having a rough day there. Tilsley does not pick up, and neither does Daniel Thomas, who comes across the line behind her. Thomas now in 9th place, just slowly falling back on the grid, still sitting with his original lap of 150.049. Lewis Archer and Ivan Balkamp, 3rd and 4th right now, right behind each other. I feel like Archer gave Balkamp a little bit of room there. See if Balkamp is on a flying lap. Can he take the pole away from Grabowski? He comes across the line. And he does! A 148.334 for Ivan Balkamp moves him up to the provisional pole with 7 more minutes left in qualifying. Well done. Moves Steve Grabowski down to 2nd position. Grabowski getting ready to come through the horseshoe himself. He's going to try to have something to say about it. It was only 0.02 of a second that Balkamp beat him by. That's all Grabowski needs to pick up from his fastest time. Can he do it? No, he's not going to do it this lap. Nothing there for Grabowski. Chris Byram getting ready to go through the horseshoe himself. He's currently sitting in 3rd. Can he pick it up? 6 more minutes to go here in qualifying. 11 more minutes left to go until we go racing, so don't turn that dial. Grab some popcorn. Jason Simons moves his way up to 5th position with a great lap, 148.862 for Simons. Don't think we're picking up his correct paint job unless he didn't have time to get his car painted before he came into the race. But he is a CUDA Racing School car or driver that I know of. So him and Grabowski looking to have a nice points run if they can keep up the pace that they're having here in qualifying. Lewis Archer getting ready to come through the final turn. He's sitting in 4th position. You know he wants a better starting spot than that. A little bit loose coming out of the final turn. Can he pick it up? And I don't see it picking up. I think he might have had an off track there. I don't see a lap being put down for Lewis Archer, so he's going to have to put another one down. 4.5 minutes left to go. Baukamp up on top. Steve Grabowski in 2nd. Chris Byram 3rd. Lewis Archer 4th. And Jason Simons in 5th. Grabowski just puts a little bit faster lap to within 0.02 of a second. 148.336 to Ivan Baukamp's 148.334. Very, very close to the top. Chris Byram getting ready to come through the final corner. He wants part of that action up front. He's not far off. And he can't do it. He's not going to pull it off. So with only 3.5 minutes left to go, whoever's out on track has got about a lap and a half left. Louis Cologne just pops up to 6th position with a 148.853. So nice lap by Lewis. And he spins it out. He's not going to really get another attempt at a lap due to how the tires and everything work. So he's kind of out of it. Lewis Archer really trying to pick it up. He's currently in 4th. As he comes across the line, his last lap was a 148.7. This one, 149.246. Lewis Archer's got 3 more minutes to get it done. Ivan Baukamp about to come out of the final corner. He gets a little loose. Can he pick up his time? No, 148.674 for Baukamp. Not going to be able to do that. Steve Grabowski going to try to reclaim his pole as he comes through the horseshoe. Gets a little loose. Couldn't see if he went off track there. Hammers down the front stretch. Crosses the finish line. No, it's not going to happen. Sorry for the technical folks. Jason Simons coming out of turn 4, and it looks like Eli Cannon right behind him. Simons does not improve, neither does Cannon. And a minute and a half left to go. Couple guys coming out. 3 drivers still yet to qualify. Beddoes, Marshall, and Springer. Daniel Thomas improves his lap. 149.584. Good enough for 10th position right now. And Alex Gutenek just moves up to 4th position with a 148.570. Louis Cologne about to come across the line himself. Less than a minute left to go. And Lewis is not going to advance his time. gonna still sit in 7th position. Steve Grabowski getting ready to come through the final 2 corners. He really wants that pole position bad. Can he pick up that 0.02 of a second to catch Baukamp? Byram's going to come across the line with a 48.78. Not going to be able to improve. Grabowski will not improve either. Jason Simon's about to come across the line. Currently sitting in 6th place. That's the end of qualifying. Simons moves up to 5th with a 148.625. Nice qualifying effort for him. Eli Cannon puts his best lap down, 152.26. Alex Gutenek out on track. Lewis Archer and Daniel Thomas coming through the final corner. He goes a little wide. He goes off track. That's going to be right in front of Lewis Archer trying to complete his final lap, but he's going to be completely out of the way. Can Lewis pick it up? He's currently 6th. And no, 48.890. Lewis Archer is going to start from 6th place on the grid at the moment. Alex Gutenek loses it coming out of the final corner. Nick Marshall coming. Can he get a lap down? Has not been able to set a lap yet. And as he comes across the line, I do not see a lap coming up for him. Only a couple cars left. Eric Beddoes on the track, coming out of the final corner. And he doesn't look like Beddoes is going to put a time down either. And now it's just Grabowski and Byram left out there. Can Grabowski snatch the pole away from Baukamp in the last seconds? And he does! With a 148.107, Steve Grabowski takes the pole, and Chris Byram takes 2nd place with a 148.208, knocking Ivan Baukamp down to 3rd place for the start of the race. What a qualifying finish! Wow! Steve Grabowski to the top, Chris Byram in 2nd. And Ivan Baukamp now rolling off 3rd after getting off track thinking he had the pole. What a finish to qualifying. We have a 5-minute warm-up session, and we will be getting back to racing. Wow, if that is anything for what's to come. That was only 25 minutes. This race is about to be an hour long. We're going to have racing. We're going to have pit stops. We might even have safety cars. Who knows what we're going to have, but make sure you tune in back in a couple minutes, and we will be back racing. We go racing here in about 3.5 minutes, so don't touch that dial. We're going to take a little break, and we will be right back. And as we come back, 2 minutes left to race time, we're going to take a look at that qualifying order. Because, wow, what a finish to the last few seconds of qualifying. Steve Grabowski with the Cuda Racing School is going to take the pole for the American Grand Prix with a 148.107. What a lap by Steve Grabowski, and Chris Byram coming right behind him, no doubt having a little bit of draft coming from him, picks up second, and that shoves Ivan Baukamp all the way down to third place for the start of this race. Alex Gutneck coming back after a little bit of a break, currently starting in fourth place with Jason Simons right behind him in fifth. Rolling off in sixth is our championship leader right now, Lewis Archer, having a really rough qualifying, 6/10 off the pace currently on the board. Lewis Cologne taking seventh. Lauren Tilsley in her first F2 start qualifying eighth. Don Day in ninth. Daniel Thomas in 10th. Eli Cannon 11th. Alexander Shanna coming home 12th. Stuart Gibbons, Steve Bunting, and Chris Springer rounding out our 15-car field. And having said that, we are 20 seconds away from gridding our field up. And what a start we have here. 36 laps at Circuit of the Americas here in Austin, Texas. Steve Grabowski is going to start us off. And as the warm-up finishes, we are going to get the grid set for the IFL F2 Season 2, or Season 1, Round 10. And boy, are we excited for this race. 17 drivers, 36 laps. And Steve Grabowski's going to take us on the pole. There is our beautiful form of F3 cars, or F2 cars. A couple drivers waiting to set. And the lights are coming on. 1, 2, 3, 4. There it is. Lights are out, and we're away for the American Grand Prix. Grabowski and Byram get a great start. 3 wide already further back in the pack. We all get through turn 1. Simons gets touched. And he's off in the gravel, but everybody's off to the side. Looks like we're good further up towards the race. Steve Grabowski's got the lead. Lots of stuff going on in the middle of the pack. Eli Cannon got himself up to 9th. Lots of pressure all over the racetrack. Ivan Baukamp up to 5th. Alex Gutneck is in 2nd, but he's got Chris Byram all over his tail. Steve Grabowski's gained over to 2nd over Gutneck already. Oh, and there is a big crash in the back of the field. What happened there? The driver spun out in the middle and got off to the side, but a bunch of drivers stacked up off the side of the racetrack. Really tough there. Grabowski really moving away. Jason Simons, I think he's got a little bit of damage, but he makes a move on Daniel Thomas. Thomas seems like he's having a little bit of a problem back there. Not sure what's happening there, but he's falling back further and further as Gutneck still has a lot of pressure on him from Byram. Lauren Tilsley right up Alexander Shanna's bumper, trying to make a move as we all come across the stripe. A fairly clean first lap, a couple little incidents, but nothing major. She's going to fall back, and Alex Gutenek's got super pressure from Chris Byram in the first sector of the second lap. Baukamp is putting a lot of pressure on Cologne as well. Byram falls back. Baukamp on Cologne for fourth position. And Byram gets by Gutenek. They're battling almost side by side. Gutenek goes to the inside. Tight braking zone. Chris has got a lift, but he's going to get the run coming on the outside. Side by side down the straightaway. Through the DRS zone there. This is going to allow Steve Grabowski to get further and further away, and this is going to allow Louis Cologne and Ivan Baukamp to catch up. Alexander Shanna had a problem. No, still going straight. Very, very close racing between the top 5 and 6. Grabowski's now got a 2.4 second gap over Chris Byram in second place. Ivan Baukamp getting a run on Louis Cologne. Is he going to get anything in turn number 1? He makes a hard dive. Not going to be able to do anything there. Grabowski's really starting to get away. And Alexander Shanna goes into the pits. There's a battle between the BE racing drivers. Eric Beddoes and Steve Bunting going back and forth. Ivan Baukamp still trying to work on Louis Cologne, but now Don Day is coming into the picture right behind the two turning point drivers, squishing Ivan Baukamp in the CUDA Evo. See Lauren Tilsley right there trying to catch the draft from the front pack, falling back just further behind, and then you see Lewis Archer behind her in 8th place. Ivan Baukamp all over Louis Cologne. Oh, and he gets into him and he taps him around. Cologne sideways. Does he get into Tilsley? Everybody stays straight. But Ivan Baukamp has a little bit of impatience and taps Louis Cologne. And now Louis is all over the back of Ivan. They both go off track there. Louis Archer behind both of them. He's got to be careful. He's got a championship to protect. He cannot get caught up in two people mad at each other. That is for sure. Oh! And Don Day loses it. Gets it back straight, but wow, Don Day loses it going into turn number 1 or 2. And that's going to stack up the field. Ivan Baukamp now leading the pack of 5. It looks like Don Day is going to go a little further wide. Not sure what's going on with Don, but now he's under pressure from Eli Cannon. Ivan Baukamp getting passed by Louis Cologne. Cologne's down on the inside again. And Archer makes a move to the inside. And then he hits Ivan Baukamp. I said that corner was going to be rough. Baukamp gets going. I'm sure Archer and Baukamp are going to have some damage from that one. Louis Archer tried to follow Louis Cologne through, and Ivan wasn't expecting it. It ended up touching. Tough break. Lewis Archer making a break for the inside, though. He gets by Eli Cannon. And now he's going to go after Don Day. And Jason Simons now all over Ivan Baukamp's bumper as Baukamp's trying to get it back figured out. You see Simons goes off track there into the green. So that's going to be an off track point. And he almost gets into the back of Ivan there. Really, really close racing for 9th position. And he gets by Ivan. As Ivan lets him go, might be making him a little nervous. As Ivan Baukamp, he's actually going to hit the pit lane. He's going to try something. As Louis Cologne and Don Day out front here in 5th and 6th. Doing pretty decent for the Turning Point guys so far at the moment. Louis Archer trying to catch up to Don Day, though. Louis Archer down the straightaway is getting a little bit of draft. Is he going to make a move? Yes. Takes a dive to the inside. Not sure how much damage he's got. He's going to try to do a 2-for-1. Not going to be able to do it on Cologne. Don Day's going to battle back hard, but not going to be able to do it. Louis Archer's going to take that position, move him up to 6th position. And he's going to now try to work on Louis Cologne. Eli Cannon now all over the bumper of Don Day. And we've got a battle for 3rd position. Lauren Tilsley making a move on Alex Gutneck. Gutneck goes to the inside to defend. This is for 3rd position right now. As Eric Beddoes and Eli Cannon crash. Oh, they're off into the grass into each other. Tough break for them. We go back, Tilsley still trying to take down Gutneck. Tilsley in her first Formula 2 race here in the IFL. Currently running in 4th position. Trying to chase down one of the veteran drivers, Alex Gutneck. Getting some tow coming down the straightaway. Gonna try to make another move on him here. Gonna look to the outside. And she's gonna go right around him. He's gonna dive hard. They're gonna keep it clean. They're gonna be side by side. And Gutneck's gonna let her have it. And then he's gonna dive back hard to the inside. She leaves him space. Great side-by-side battling here in the F2 division. I think they touched a little bit there. I think Gutneck just didn't give her enough room. Gutneck goes around. He's back. He's going back straight, though. But that moves Lauren Tilsley up into 3rd place, into a podium position. 6 laps now complete. Starting lap number 7. Steve Grabowski up front. Leading this one away as we've got a battle with Eli Cannon and Jason Simons. With Gutneck, actually. Simons now, Gutneck has fallen back to 6th place with that little bit of contact. And it looks like Louis Archer's going after Louis Cologne into turn number 1. Many battles here on the racetrack. Looks like Don Day gets by Eli Cannon. Eli Cannon goes to the pits. Jason Simons all over the back of Gutneck. Back to Lewis Archer and Lewis Cologne. These guys are right in front of each other. It's 4th and 5th and 6th and 7th. Is Lewis Archer going to make a move? He goes to the inside. And he is. He's going to take it from Lewis Cologne. Cologne's going to battle back hard on the outside with a great corner exit. What an exit from Cologne to keep himself up into 4th position for the moment. As battle's starting to fizzle out and everybody's starting to just get in a rhythm. That first 10 laps of pressure really makes you make a mistake here and there, and then it'll spread the field out just a little bit. This is still currently the closest battle for position. Lewis Archer trying to get out of that 5th place position and move up past Lewis Cologne. Really needs to get by that turning point car and get both CUDA Evo or CUDA Works cars in front of them turning point racing cars to make sure they don't gain any gap in that constructor's title. Don Day still in 8th place, and it looks like Lewis Cologne goes off track, and Alex Gutnick and Jason Simons crashed. This is a replay of, as we've seen Lewis make a mistake, this is Alex and Jason, and it looks like Alex tried to defend twice on Jason, and Jason just wasn't able to get on the brakes fast enough there. A couple little incidents, nothing really safety car worthy at the moment. Little closeness here with Alex Gutnick now and Jason Simons once again. It's going to be interesting what these two have to say with each other after a little bit of contact on the racetrack. I'm sure Simons didn't mean to give a bump to Gutnick, but he jumped in front of his braking zone, so I can see where that kind of happens sometimes. Hopefully there's not too much damage for those guys. Currently out in front of this race, just running away, 5.5 seconds ahead. Steve Grabowski doing a great job here at Circuit of the Americas. Chris Byram currently in 2nd position, and he's got a little bit of a gap back to 3rd position, Lauren Tilsley. And she's actually got about a 7-second gap back to 4th place, Lewis Archer. And Lewis has got a few seconds back as well to the battle between Jason Simons and Alex Gutnick. Gutnick has fallen off of that battle a little bit since. But that is your top 5 after 8 laps. Lewis Cologne going in the pits, making a pit stop. Not sure if that's scheduled or not. What happened with him? That was a fairly quick pit stop. So that's going to move Eric Beddoes up to 9th place. And Ivan Baukamp, after that crazy start, is in 8th place after his first lap pit stop. So we'll see. I'm sure he's going to have to make a pit stop later on in this race unless he's super saving fuel. But yeah, I think Baukamp is going to be hard pressed to win this race, but he definitely has a chance at some good points if he can pull off this 2-stop strategy with just pitting at the first lap. So not much battle going on the track right now. 10 laps in, and everybody's just now starting to get the flow. Looks like Steve Bunting's having some problems with his car. Might have a little bit of damage or something. Went off track and had a couple cars get past him. Looks like Alexander Shanna and Daniel Thomas are starting to have a battle here. Thomas trying to get by Shanna. This is for 14th position or 13th position. And Thomas is going to take it from him. And it says Eli Cannon crashed. What happened here? Lap number 10. Going through the final corner, just gets on the throttle a little too hard and jumps right to the pits. Tough break for Cannon in the Orion Racing Motorsports. That moves Eric Beddoes up to 8th position. Beddoes having a pretty good run, but he's got Louis Cologne right on his tail right now. Lewis made a pit stop, so Lewis now trying to make his way up. And he's going to make his move going into the inside of the corner here. Beddoes gives him room, but Cologne is going to take it. See Stuart Gibbons trying to follow Don Day, who's about to pass his teammate Nick Marshall. Don Day also made a pit stop on lap 9. He goes way off the track. Lets the two Wolfpack drivers back by, and he's going to have to get by him one more time. The two Wolfpack drivers are now fighting for position. This is for the points right there. This is for 10th position. So if it's going to be one of them that gets the points, they're definitely going to fight for it. As we see Nick Marshall give in to Stuart Gibbons. And now Don Day is going to try to go after Stuart. And up front, Chris Byram is starting to catch Steve Grabowski ever so slightly. It was 5.5 seconds, and then I look up and it's 5 seconds. And then I look up again and it's 5.5 seconds. So it looks like he did lose a little bit of time on Steve there just a moment ago, but he was starting to gain some ground. They look to me about running as right there. It's about 5 seconds. So we'll see. It's getting to the point where we're going to start having some pit stops, and undercuts are totally possible. It's going to be at least about 35 to 40 seconds on pit road. So really, all the way back to, I think, Jason Simons, if Grabowski were to pit, he would fall back to about 5th as we see a BE racing driver off in the grass. He keeps it off the racing surface on the way of Chris Byram. Nice save by that BE racing driver going off the track. Looks like that was Steve Bunting. So some nice wreck avoidance there. Getting Byram's way, and Byram's starting to dip into the 4-second barrier to Grabowski. So Grabowski might be saving a little bit, or just a little bit slower. He still does have the fastest lap of the race with a 1:49.061. 0.7 of a second faster than Chris Byram. So still showing the fastest pace of the race, but these two are staying about the same distance apart. So Steve Grabowski gets caught up in traffic or has a tough break on pit lane, Byram will be all over his tail, and he might not be able to get rid of him. Looks like Daniel Thomas is getting by Eric Beddoes because Eric Beddoes had some issues. And Stuart Gibbons goes off the track, and he gets back on nice and safe like. And still up in third, trying to chase the 2 leaders down. Lauren Tilsley putting on a great performance, only 9 seconds back from the leader, running about the same lap times, if not the exact same lap time Chris Byram just put down. So, and Lewis Archer just put down a 151.9, so, or 151.1. So, Archer even half a second slower than the top 3 at the moment, currently running in 4th position after the really tough qualifying and beginning of the race. That beginning of the race was absolutely crazy, mid-pack back. And currently running in 5th. Jason Simons, you see him there coming through the S's of the first sector. Had a little bit of contact with Alex Gutneck, who is currently in 6th position. Those 2 are going to have to make some pit stops, and I'm sure we will see those 2 fighting with each other towards the end of the race here. 12 laps complete. 24 more laps to go. Grabowski holding on to his 5-second lead over Byram at the moment. And Daniel Thomas looks like he's trying to get a little bit racy with Stuart Gibbons in front of him, trying to work his way up into 11th. And as you see Gibbons going down into the pits, that's going to move Thomas up into 11th position. One more spot, and he's up in the points. So Daniel Thomas trying to salvage a tough break and tough start of the race. And one more driver up ahead of him is Nick Marshall. If he can take down Nicholas Marshall, he will be able to get into that 10th position. Not sure if he has pitted once on lap number 1, so I'm sure he's going to have to pit one more time as well, like Ivan Baukamp. And Nicholas Marshall is off the track. Not sure what happened there. Looks like he's back on and everything is kosher. And Steve Grabowski getting ready to lap Nick Marshall at the moment. And Daniel Thomas has since got by Nick Marshall and moved himself up into 10th position. So he's trying to hold on, but he better watch out because he's got Steve Grabowski coming. And Grabowski will put him a lap down and really end his chance at winning the race if anything were to happen. Got battles starting to heat up. Jason Simons starting to catch up to Lewis Archer. He's broken the 1.5 second barrier, almost down to the second, almost where he can catch the slipstream. And Lauren Tisley is starting to reel in Chris Byram, now almost 2 seconds. And a big problem at the back of the field, it looked like, but I don't see any issues here. Looks like Tisley made a mistake. Now fell back 5 seconds from Chris Byram there in third. So not sure what happened with her. Hopefully she didn't get too much damage, but all that work she put into catching Chris Byram is now out the window. She's got a little bit more work to do there. Jason Simons still trying to work on Lewis Archer. 1.3 seconds now the gap. 15 laps complete. 11 more laps to go. Sorry, 21 more laps to go. And he's now within that second. He's now able to get that slipstream from Archer as we see it. Simons has caught up. What can he do with Lewis Archer? It looks like he's got a little bit of left wing damage. And he's still catching Lewis Archer. So, wondering if Archer has a little bit of floorboard damage or something from an incident earlier on in the start. He's just holding on in 4th place until the pit stops, because it looks like Simons has got a little bit of damage. Not sure if Archer has anything on his car. I really don't see any damage, but yeah, because the front wing looks fine on Archer's car, but it just looked a little funny on Simons. Maybe he doesn't have any damage, but he is looking to make a move on Archer. Now half a second the gap. Battle for 4th position starting to heat up. Lewis Archer doesn't want to let go. And Simons has something to prove. And I'm sure at any moment here we should start seeing at least a few pit stops of some crazy strategies. We're almost halfway through this race. Steve Grabowski just crosses the line to start lap 18, which is our halfway lap. Currently out front of Chris Byram by 5.5 seconds. Lauren Tisley in 3rd place, back 6.25 from Byram. And Lewis Archer back 15 seconds from that 3rd place spot. But the battle here is for 4th, as he has Jason Simons all over his bumper. Within a second, he's definitely got the draft, or the slipstream as you guys may like to call it. But he's definitely working it. Not sure if these both have damage or what's going on, but I definitely feel like Simons has a little bit of left front wing damage. And Archer may have some floorboard damage where these two are just holding on. Looks like Alexander Shanna had an issue. What happened to Shanna? He went to go in the pits, and he just missed it and had to come to a stop. Trying to make a pit stop. There it is. Pit stops are starting. And as I say that, Jason Simons is in the pits, which releases Lewis Archer. Jason Simons went off track. What happened with... Whoa. What happened there? Where did Lewis get by him here? Huh. Not sure what happened there, but Steve Grabowski crashed, and Chris Byram gets by. What happens here? And Steve Grabowski loses it in turn one! Right in front of Daniel Thomas. Gets it back straight, but Chris Byram gets by. Wow! Wow, what? That is crazy. Chris Byram now in control of the American Grand Prix, with Steve Grabowski 6 seconds behind. Whoa, that is absolutely crazy. And of the drivers here now, in the top four, the only driver that's made our pit stop out of basically, I think, everybody else but 4 drivers have now pitted at least once. And that's Lauren Tilsley in 4th position. She was running in 3rd in front of Lewis Archer. And on lap 18, she made her pit stop halfway through. So 18 more laps, and she doesn't have to stop. The 3 up front, Byram, Grabowski, and Archer do. And right now, she's currently just under 30 seconds behind these guys. Looks like about 35 seconds. And pit lane time is about 38 seconds. So, yeah, it's going to be very, very close with Byram and Grabowski having that issue. Lauren Tilsley could be working towards a podium here with 16 more laps to go, being the first driver in the top 4 that's pitted. But out front right now, Chris Byram trying to run away with it. 8.2 seconds over Grabowski. Grabowski got to be kicking himself over losing it in turn 1 all by himself in clean air. Grabowski has not been able to have a perfect race, although he did take the win in Zandvoort. It was not easy, and he still had a couple frustrations. Was looking to almost dominate here, but now he's got a little bit of work to do. He's got to get by Chris Byram and hold off Lewis Archer and Lauren Tilsley. Gutneck currently in 5th. He has not pitted as well, so he's going to have to pit. And Ivan Baukamp in 6th. Baukamp pitted early on in the race, and I believe may have to pit again because he pit on lap number 4. So, along with the next 3 drivers, Louis Colon, Don Day, and Daniel Thomas, all making pit stops before lap 10, I have to feel like they're going to have to come back in. And Steve Bunting goes off track right in front of our leader, and he moves over to the side. Tough break for Bunting. He's had a really rough day to here. And Steve Grabowski turns the fastest lap of the race with a 1:48.811. So Grabowski really pushing, trying to catch back up to Byram and not have as much ground to make up after his pit stops. Lewis Archer just puts his fastest lap down, a 1:49.8, 1 second slower than Grabowski on this last lap for their last lap. So Archer trying to hold that car together, sitting in third place right now, but he is definitely going to need to take another pit stop, and I'm sure they'll be coming in quite soon. Nine cars still on the lead lap. Don Day rounding out the lead lap. Stuart Gibbons there in the BE Racing Machines, currently sitting in 10th, holding on to that final point. Got a few hungry drivers underneath. Tough break to see Jason Simons down in 15th, 10 laps down. Not 10 laps down, but tough to see him down there, back there. And Alexander Shanna was trying to have a good run, and he's now down in 11th, going to be fighting with Stuart Gibbons for that 10th place position. And Chris Byram's in the pit lane, and that might give Steve Grabowski a chance to get back by Byram. It looks like Louis Colon is also coming into the pit lane. Or Don Day, sorry, is in the pit lane. So now Louis Archer moves up to second place with Chris Byram. Chris Byram coming out of the pits. Will Lauren Tisley be able to get him? She's coming right there. He's going to be racing with Don Day coming out of the pits. Don Day is a lap car. Tisley's going to be just behind him. Looked like there was a car there kind of off the track. Couldn't really see it though. But there you see the gap between Day and Tisley. Looks like it's about actually 7 seconds in between her and Chris Byram. So Grabowski still has to stop. That should put Byram back in front, but will it put him out in front of Tisley? Because Louis Archer still has to stop as well, and I'm pretty sure she's fairly close behind Louis, unless there is some issue there. Looks about 12 or 20 seconds, so I believe possibly we'll have to see. Steve Grabowski's going in the pits, and Daniel Thomas is sideways in the pits right in front of the leader, Steve Grabowski. What a tough implication for Steve Grabowski. That is going to lose him a lot of time. As Louis Archer comes out of turn 4, he's going to assume the lead, being the last driver, apart from Alex Gutenek, that still needs to pit. But wow. Chris Byram coming out, and Lauren Tisley, is she going to get by Steve Grabowski? As Grabowski's still sitting in the pits, she does, so that moves her back up into third place and into a podium position. And if she can push hard enough on Louis Archer, she could possibly score a second place finish to Chris Byram once Archer takes a pit stop. Steve Grabowski now down to 4th position coming out of the pits. He's got the fastest lap of the race. He's definitely going to be hard pressed to catch up. Louis Archer, the only one of our leaders yet to pit. Is he going to come down this time? Looks like he's got about 10 seconds over Chris Byram at the moment. That's not going to be enough to keep him behind. Tisley's 26 seconds behind, and pit road is about 39 seconds. So I believe Tisley will get by Archer once Archer goes to pit road, but it is going to be very, very close. Will Archer come to the pits this time around? This time by will be 23 laps completed, 13 laps to go. And Archer still stays out front. See if he can amass a gap a little bit more, or if that gap's going to close down on him. He turns a 149.609 that last lap. What kind of lap is Chris Byram going to turn? That's a 150.716, so Archer still putting a little bit of gap between them. There you see the gap. You'd barely seen Chris Byram coming out through the S's. And there he is right now. So a little bit of a gap there back. And Steve Grabowski has another issue. What happened with Steve, or is this an older issue? Looks like he went up in turn 1 again. And he spun out up in turn 1 again. So a very tough break for Steve Grabowski, doing everything he can to hold on. Currently still 4th position. But he lost a lot of ground to Lauren Tilsley. But Ivan Baukamp still a ways behind, so didn't lose any positions, but still lost a lot of time to having a better finish. He's now probably going to have to just sit and ride and take possibly a 4th place finish now when Lewis Archer takes a pit stop, because I believe that spin would have stopped him and taken him out of contention with battling for Lewis when Lewis makes a pit. And Archer is not going to make a pit stop right now. He's going to come around, complete lap number 25, make it 11 more laps to go. And he's going to just keep coming. He's got a little bit of lap traffic in front of him, but I don't think that's going to be much of a problem. Gapping Chris Byram by over a half a second to 3/4 a second a lap at the moment. What a race so far for Lewis Archer. He didn't have the greatest qualifying effort. He didn't have the greatest start. He just tried to keep it clean, tried to keep it smart. Got into a little tussle there, trying to follow Louis Cologne past Ivan Baukamp, I believe that was. And it kind of threw him off, and he might have gotten a little bit of damage. But still pulling through, running out front. Being able to gap the 2nd place car while still on old tires is very crucial to staying out longer. Otherwise, there's just no point. If the guy behind you is catching you, you might as well pit and get back on them new tires. But if he's able to actually gap Byram just a little bit the way he's running right now, there's no sense in putting new rubber on and having that lap or two to really get out of the way, as he's now got a few lap cars to try to deal with. Hopefully this doesn't really give him too much problem. He's going to take him on the straight, and it's going to be no problem as he goes to start lap number 26. And Lewis Archer gets loose. He spins. He hits the little yellow nub. That is going to really let Chris Byram catch up. The first mistake we've seen Lewis Archer make all race long. That's definitely going to leave him with some damage. Luckily, he got it going back straight. But what a mistake by Lewis Archer. That allows Chris Byram to catch up by 5 or 6 seconds. That allows Tilsley to catch up now. Lewis Archer's the only chance is to pit now. He has to pit right now. He has to get back on track with that new rubber, that fixed car, and he has to put down the best lap times he can. Otherwise, he's not going to win this race. So it's all full throttle right now. It's give her everything, send everything. And I'm almost going to bet we're going to see Lewis Archer take a pit stop right now when he comes by the pit entrance. And with 10 laps to go, it's a perfect time to come to the pits. Maybe that's why he spun out. He was just pushing for his pit lap. But that allowed Chris Byram to 6.5 seconds. 6 seconds now. Lewis Archer's got a lot of damage in that car that he doesn't know about, because Byram is catching him really fast. 15 seconds to gap now to the third place, and there he is. Lewis Archer comes down onto pit road to the service of his Kuda crew, and Chris Byram, his teammate, coming around the final corner. He's going to take back over the lead over top of Lewis Archer. And Lauren Tilsley comes out of the final corner, and with Archer's mistake, she's going to take home second place at the moment with 10 more laps to go. Lewis Archer still in the pits. Can Grabowski? I think Grabowski's a little too far back to catch Lewis. But Lewis made a massive mistake, and he lost out on that second place battle with Lauren Tilsley, as he's just now starting to come out of the pits as Grabowski starts coming down the straightaway. Lewis is going to have a little bit colder tires, and Grabowski's are going to be nice and warm and ready to go, so we may see a battle here for the podium position between Steve Grabowski and Lewis Archer. But currently out in front, Chris Byram, 4.5 seconds over Lauren Tilsley. As you see Tilsley in the McLaren-looking car coming just outside of the screen there down the straightaway. She is that close. 4.1 seconds to gap. She has gained 2 seconds over Chris Byram in the last half a lap. So not sure what's going on with Chris Byram, but Tilsley is coming now 4 seconds back with only 8 more laps to go once they cross the line. She's definitely in a chance to possibly win this one if she can keep it on track and catch Chris Byram, because she only needs to gain about 3 more seconds, and she'll be able to get in that slipstream, and he's got a couple lap cars here in front of him, and it looks like Alexander Shanna and Eric Beddoes, the 2 lap cars in front of our leader at the moment, could slow him down just a little bit. 3.5 seconds to gap now. There you see the gap. She's entering the S's and he's exiting as she's getting through the middle. 3.8 seconds to gap between 1 and 2. Other drivers making some of their pit stops from pitting earlier, which we knew they were going to do. It was going to mix up the back of the grid. Don Day taking his pit stop at the moment. Byram keeping the gap at 3.7 seconds back to Tilsley. There you see her coming across the hill. Down the straightaway, she gains 3/10. 3.2 seconds now the gap. Steve Grabowski has another crash, and this one ends his race and he goes to the pits. What happened to Steve Grabowski the 3rd time? Coming through the fast sector number 1. Gets a little loose and into the wall really hard. Tough break for Grabowski. With that happening right there, I believe he's going to drop out of the points with 3 other drivers running, or 4 other drivers running behind him. So tough break for Grabowski. He's going to jump out of the points, and Tilsley had a problem in second trying to catch up to Chris Byram, now 10 seconds back. looked like trying to get by a lap car of Alexander Shanna. Shanna gets a little loose and she gets on the gas pedal, spins it out. Shanna gives her room and doesn't hit her, knowing she's in second, and she gets it back going. But now Lewis Archer a ways back. Daniel Thomas, people are crashing all over. Daniel Thomas has a problem. What happened to Thomas? He hit that little yellow curb. He did, and that spins him out. Across the racetrack, them little yellow curbs will get you. You really cannot touch them. We go back up here, though. The order kind of stayed the same. Chris Byram still up in front. Tilsley with that spin out behind Alexander Shanna spinning out is now 9.3 seconds behind Byram and actually gaining a little bit. So still pushing with Lewis Archer another 15 seconds behind her in third position, with Ivan Baukamp still currently in fourth place, but it says his pit lap was on lap 4 along with Louis Cologne, who is in 5th place. He pitted on lap 8, so I'm sure those two are going to be coming to pit road here very, very shortly. As we see, it looks like Daniel Thomas is about to go another lap down by Chris Byram. And as we start lap number 30, that makes us 7 more laps to go. Chris Byram holding a steady 8.5 second lead over Lauren Tilsley right now. Lewis Archer in 3rd, and Ivan Baukamp in 4th. Only 6 drivers currently on the lead lap at the moment. Alex Gutneck, the last car on the lead lap. And we see Thomas go off track there in front of our leader, Chris Byram. And he gets out of the way with no problems. As we've been keeping an eye on it, the battle for the last point. Nick Marshall currently in 10th position right now, so he's got the battle won for the last point at the moment. Eric Beddoes right behind him, Steve Bunting in 12th. And Louis Cologne crashed. What happened with Louis Cologne? Looks like he was possibly dealing with a lap car. Goes way to the inside. And once again, just like Steve Grabowski, gets it loose. Doesn't spin it all the way out, but gets it loose. So everybody really having some issues when it comes to getting on the throttle. And Chris Byram just keeping his issues to a minimum. And after getting his win stolen from him last week at Watkins Glen, he's finally out front once again, and all he's got to do is keep it straight and keep it on track. He's got an 8.5 second gap back to Tilsley in 2nd, and a 25-second gap back to Louis Archer, his teammate, back in 3rd. So Byram's sitting in a very good spot right now, coming to 5 laps to go once we cross the start-finish line. And I believe we're going to see Chris Byram win the American Grand Prix. As I say that, I probably just jinxed Chris Byram because things happen to the leaders all the time in this race. And you never know what's going to happen to who. It's just so unpredictable in these F2 cars. They're so hard to drive, and all you get is this little feeling that I might have just overdrove myself before you spin out, and it's hard to catch sometimes. So these drivers really showing their level of proness right now, being able to hold this together. Tilsley doing a very good job in her first iFormula F2 race. Currently in 2nd place, still tracking down Chris Byram. She made that little mistake and lost her a bunch of time, but she's now 7.5 seconds. She just gained almost another second on Byram in that last lap and a half. But with just under 5 laps to go, I don't feel like she's going to have enough time to get there unless Chris makes a really big mistake, or if something happens in front of our leader, which I really don't think anything is going to really happen in front of him, because he doesn't have a whole lot in front of him at the moment. He's got a fairly clear track, so he might be able to do something with it. I think he's got like one car in the next like 5 turns, so I think he should be fairly all right. And Tilsley is just chipping away at his lead. 6.7 seconds the gap now. We're going to keep an eye on this and see if she can actually really reel him in. It looks like she's gaining about a second a lap or so on him. Not sure if Byram is just kind of relaxing right now, keeping the tires cool, noticing that she's pushing as hard as she is. But she's about to break the 6-second barrier. Byram just has to keep it calm, cool, and collected and on the racetrack. But Tilsley really showing us some pace, wondering if she might get the fastest lap. Grabowski set that, he'll at least get 1 point, but if she can take it away from him with this pace that she's knocking down, who knows what we can do, because she's almost got it to 5.5 seconds now. And there it is, the fastest lap, 1:48.718. Tilsley is on fire with 4 laps to go. 5.3 seconds to gap. If she can gain a second and a half a lap, or close to it, she can catch Chris Byram. Byram needs to not make any mistakes right now. Lewis Archer still 25 seconds back, running 1:51s. He is not going to be in this. Tilsley really wants this win over Chris Byram as she's trying to get it down to 5 seconds. I think Byram noticed how much she was picking up and picked up his pace just a little bit as well. And that's all it takes with these cars. You've seen she had a perfect race, had no problems, and she made that one spin on her own, got it going right back in the same direction as fast as she could, and that cost her over 5 seconds. Now, with 3 laps to go, she's 4.8 seconds behind Chris Byram. If she would not have had that spin, she would have been either on Byram's tail battling for the lead at the moment, or would have the lead with Byram in tail trying to battle back. So every little bit does count here. She is still in a pretty respectable position after that issue, like as in Lewis Archer is in 3rd place as well. But just one little mistake can really take your contention for the win out. And if Tilsley can reel in Chris Byram, as you see him going up the hill, she's starting to catch 4.7 seconds the gap now. Almost a full second faster than Byram on that last lap. The battle is on. With 3 more laps to go. 4.6 seconds the gap between Byram and Tilsley. Byram up front trying to do everything he can to hold on to his first place spot. He does not want this stolen away from him. Again, he's worked very hard to get to this point. Had a great pit stop. Great start of the race. And now only 4.3 seconds back to Tilsley in second. Very, very technical section here. Tilsley does not make up anything on Byram there. If anything, she loses a little bit. And as Byram comes around the horseshoe, he's going to get ready for the last two corners. And he's going to come out 2 more laps to go around Circuit of the Americas for the American Grand Prix. Tilsley is 3.7 seconds behind Byram as we start the final 2 laps. Byram with a 149.6, Tilsley with a 148.7. Still with her pace, she doesn't have enough to catch him. Byram has to make a mistake. Lewis Archer still sitting in 3rd. Ivan Baukamp in 4th. Louis Cologne in 5th. And Alex Gutneck rounding out our drivers that are on the lead lap right now in 6th position. Tilsley now 3.6 behind, 3.7. She might have just given up on the push to catch Byram. She's losing a little bit more, driving a little bit safer. With only 2 more laps to go, just not enough time to catch Chris Byram. Tilsley now within 3 seconds of Byram. We've seen a spin is about 5 seconds to recover, so if Byram makes a mistake, Tilsley can jump now. 2.7 seconds as they come around the final corner. The white flag is in the air. 1 more lap. Byram out front. 2.4 seconds to gap back to Tilsley. Tilsley going to be on maximum push for this lap. Hopefully she can keep it on track and hold on to a good finish. And she doesn't mess it up. There is a lot of time back to Louis Archer. But if you put it in the wall, that's race over on the last lap. Chris Byram just got to hold it on. 2.3 seconds. I don't think she's going to have enough time to do it. Losing a little bit of time from Byram on that section as we get ready to go through the first half of the track. Half a lap left to go for Chris Byram. Tilsley still 2.5 seconds back. Only a few more corners and Chris Byram will have this one. Tilsley putting on a great fight though for P2. Byram nice and smooth through the slow technical section. Tilsley not able to gain anything on him as he comes out. Only a few more corners to go. Two final corners, 2.6 seconds the gap. And as he rounds the final corner, Chris Byram is going to be the winner of the American Grand Prix. Lauren Tilsley in her first F2 start going to be coming home in second and stealing the fastest lap point away from Steve Grabowski, leaving him with no points left in this race. Louis Archer with a rough qualifying start and a rough start to the race salvages back with lap times of 150s. To come home in 3rd position. He's going to be happy to get out of the United States as he rounds the corner and takes home the checkered flag for his podium and to give him some more points here in racing. Ivan Baukamp somehow pinning on lap number 4 is coming out of the final corner. He's going into the pit lane on the last lap because he has nothing else to do as he crosses the finish line. Bicamp is going to come home in 4th place with Louis Cologne in the Turning Point Racing car coming home in 5th. I don't know how Baucamp got by with pitting on lap number 4, but what a race and what a comeback for Baucamp to keep that points battle with Louis Archer close. Alex Gutneck losing it coming out of the second to last corner. Can he get that thing across before Don Day gets to him? I think he will, because Don Day's already across the line, so Gutneck's still going to come home in 6th position. Don Day in 7th. Daniel Thomas in 8th. Nicholas Marshall coming home with a 9th place finish there, coming across the line. And Eric Beddoes taking the final point in 10th position for BE Racing. Wow, what I told you guys it was going to be crazy, and it turned out to be even crazier than I expected it to be. Wow, what a race that we just saw there. And we have got to talk to a couple of these people. We absolutely have to. But we might have a problem there. We have since reorganized our Discord, and I am no longer allowed to move some people. So if you give us one quick moment, we will be right back in just a moment. Chris Byram, there he is on the front stretch by Louis Archer and Lauren Tilsley, getting ready to do some interviews and some podium shots. Hello. Still working at trying to get a few of our interviews here in the room, but I think we're going to start with P3, Louis Archer. See if we can't find a way to get Louis in our booth. Alright, see what we can do here. take a moment here and just give a big shout out to our sponsors for making this all happen. Butt Kicker, they've been with us for a couple seasons. They're really awesome. We've got Majors Garage and LTD Designs helping us out with prizes and stuff for all of our team members. They've been great on board, and we love having them here. So looking forward to a few more seasons with these guys and maybe finding some more. And if we just can't get Lewis Archer, our third place finisher, into the booth.
Right, okay, I know what's going on.
Oh. Okay, there we go. There we go.
Sorry.
Lewis Archer. What
Mate.
what a race today, man. Take us through your race. Obviously you had a really rough qualifying session, which then led into being kind of stuck in 3 wide and craziness going into turn 1. Take us through your race and what happened.
Yeah, that was fairly crazy. I did everything, absolutely everything I could today. I threw down as much pace as I could throw down, as much practice that I could get down during the week, as much setting up time as I could do. And yeah, it just wasn't quite enough over the 1 lap pace. So I had to sort of set my game into sort of staying safe through turn 1, which I know there was a couple of little bangs, but I don't think I exited that corner with any contact. And I have no idea what happened to turn 2, but I ended up off the track on the inside, just trying to stay out of the way of people. And I lost a few places, so it was a bit of a recovery drive. So to come back to a podium, at that point, I was expecting a good race would be 5th or 6th, or, as long as I could try to get near Ivan, my main title rival. And yeah, to get P3, genuinely super happy with that. Austin's not been too kind to me in the IFL. So to get a podium, I'm very happy with that, all things considered.
Well, there was a couple incidences on the track. One where you were going into the hard left-hand hairpin, bunch of room there, and it's real crazy. That room dies down real fast, and it looked like you tried to follow Louis Cologne in past, I believe it was Ivan Baukamp. It looks like you made maybe a little bit of contact there. Was that kind of holding you back a little bit throughout the race as well, and did that possibly result in you making a mistake and spinning on your own just before your pit stop, or was that not really much of a situation, and then that just mistake was just kind of getting low on fuel and low on tires?
I was absolutely sending it at that point. The other guys had pitted, and that's exactly the time in the race where I like to go absolutely crazy and just extract the maximum. I'm about to come into the pits anyway, so you just pull absolutely everything out of the tires. I really thought tire conservation was going to play more of a factor in today's race. I played it probably 20 laps of not like backing out of it, but I was probably going 97% for those first 20 laps, just trying to gauge how well the tyres stayed. And as the car started to come to me, the others pitted, and then I just absolutely threw the hammer down, and I was gaining. I was coming in, and I was coming in, and I was coming in. And then, I gained so much confidence to go flat through 3, 4, and 5, literally to just absolutely hammer it. Did it on the previous lap, got away with it. Did it on the next lap, just hit one of them yellow curves. And I was lucky not to have a full either smash into the wall or full 360 rotation. It was a minimal accident again, but that kind of stopped my charge. But I don't think I'd have gained anything anyway. If that hadn't have happened, there was no way I'd have gained something like 17 seconds to catch the car. No way. So I think P3, but even if I'd have absolutely run a perfect race, I don't think I'd have got any better than P3 anyway.
Well, we could definitely see towards the last 8 or so laps of the race that you knew that P2 and P1 were definitely out of the realm, and we see a little bit of damage on your car here at the end of the race. But you were turning like 1 lap times of like 150, stuff like that. So we definitely didn't see a lot of pace out of you, but we seen enough pace to get it done and put it back up on top of the podium, even with a 6th place start.
it was hard after I think I came out of lap 2 with like times 12, and when I just yeah, it just none of it was. I don't think, like I said, I'm not sure I gained any. I didn't feel any damage loss. I also didn't feel any pace loss. It just the little tiny dongs and bangs and the getting off the track to avoid and things like that. I had to do it in turn 1, had to do it again in turn 3. Doing all that, just got to the end of lap 2 with a lot of incident points, and I thought I can't. I can't go absolutely crazy now because I've got like 30 laps to go and only 4 more incident points. If I touch anybody else, I'm drive through. So I kind of had to dial it. Yeah, I had to think about a lot of things today. I had to think about title. I really had to think about title, and that was the first sort of time I've been in the race and thought, well, the 2 guys at the front aren't in front of me. The guy behind me is, and if I get 1 more incident point or 2 more incident points, I got to drive through, and that'll be me. The gap closing. Yeah, it was a lot going through my head in that race. It was crazy.
Well, it definitely was an absolutely insane race to watch up here in the booth.
Good.
You're gonna really enjoy watching this one over because it was even crazier than last week's races, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more out of this F2 series. 16 drivers showed up for the races today, so it was a really awesome field to see. And you still pulled off a podium, man, even with a rough start and a rough qualifying run. So congratulations on yet another podium here in the IFL, maintaining your lead with Ivan Baukamp finishing in 4th place below you. So still maintaining that points lead and gaining just a little bit more. And your teammate winning the race finally after a really tough second place at Watkins Glen last week.
Yeah, that's it. That was what I was going to finish on. GP31 we're on. At the IFL, we are on the 31st Grand Prix. This was the 31st race that we've held, and that's Chris's first win. I cannot be happier for the guy. It's been a long time coming. Many times he's been in the position where he could have won, and he himself made a mistake, or he got caught with bad luck, or for whatever reason. Just every single time he's been in this position, something's tried to deny him. And I'm glad that today was no different, and that he went over the line with only less than 2 seconds. That it wasn't just an easy win. That he literally had someone's foot up his diff the whole way. I am glad that it was not an easy win, and he deserves every single bit of it. I am super happy, and obviously it absolutely goes without saying, stunning pace from Lauren. Mega 18 points. I'm not sure if she got the fastest lap, but
she did steal that from Steve Grabowski with 3 laps to go. So she definitely was pushing to catch Chris. She made a little mistake and spun out, lost about 7 seconds, and that cost her the battle for the win. Really tough break, but really awesome recovery to get it up in 2nd place. And same thing with you. Really awesome to see you up here on the podium, Lewis. We look forward to seeing you maybe up here next week when we go to Interlagos.
That's it. I'm going to do my best there. Hopefully I'll have a better weekend. This was a super tough race. Just want to say thanks to the organisers, thanks to the IFL, and catch you guys later on the next stream.
Yeah, thanks, Lewis, and good luck next week.
Good luck, buddy.
And there it is, Lewis Archer coming home 3rd place, still up on the podium, not in the normal spot we normally see him, but still up on the podium, still getting things done, even with an ill-handling race car. And then we go to our 2nd place finisher. First race in the IFL F2 division. Lauren Tilsley. Lauren, you got a copy? Did I got you there, Lauren?
Hello.
Oh, there you are. Lauren, what a race. P2, first IFL race ever. And you were catching Chris Byram at the end of the race. Walk us through those last 10 laps. We seen you had a little mistake where you spun out coming right behind, I believe it was Alexander Shanna who spun out in front of you. And it kind of threw you off your rhythm and spun you out. And it made you lose about 6 seconds. Those 6 seconds ended up being the 6 seconds you needed to have that battle for the win at the end. Still a great recovery to take it home in 2nd still, but walk us through them last 10 laps and what was going through your mind.
When Alexander spun in front of me in mid-corner, I just messed it up on the acceleration because it put me off my line. and then it got up to 9 seconds, and like 8 laps to go, maybe 9. Then, yeah, I just kept the pace on, and I got to 1.7. So happy with the result, but could have been a P1 today.
Definitely could have been a P1, but the pace was there, and for your first race in the F2 division, we know you're fairly familiar with this car, but for the first race to come out here and finish above Lewis Archer on the podium, and to have him gapped by over 20 seconds, a lot of us in here know what Lewis Archer is capable of, and you may not realize what kind of accomplishment you just accomplished today. But what a race! Is there anything to look forward to with you being in the IFL F2?
Just more fun, really.
Do we get? I mean, can we expect you to see you battling up front, or are you just going to let Chris Byram and Lewis Archer take home all them wins?
No, we'll see where we can get.
Well, we look forward to having you in the race. What a finish. What a drive. P2, first race. You got anybody you want to thank?
Dirk Chocolate and Lando Norris.
Deck Chocolate and Lando Norris. Well, you got the McLaren paint scheme on your car,
Yep.
but that's not going to be going around too soon. Can we expect to see somewhat of the same livery for your team livery?
Somewhat. I'm not sure.
Well, we look forward to seeing that when it comes out. And good luck on the future races. We're glad to have you here, and congratulations on your first podium in your first race in the IFL L2.
Thanks.
And that's Lauren Tisley coming home P2. And now, for the final time tonight, what a finish. Chris Byram finally does it after 31 consecutive times. Let's see if we can get him into the Discord and get his first winning interview ever. Chris Byram, Rob up in the booth. You got me, buddy?
Yeah, got you, dude.
Chris, you finally got it, Duddy. 31 tries, and you're finally on top of the podium. How does it feel?
It's good, man. It's good. Tough race, but yeah, finally broke the seal. Popped my cherry. So yeah, hopefully more wins to come.
It's been a long time coming. You've stood on every step of the podium but the top step, and you finally have made it here. The only way where to go is to keep getting there and finally pull off the upset of the lifetime. We've got 8 more races to go. Lewis Archer is only about, I believe, 70 or 80 points ahead of you now. Do you really think you could possibly compete with Lewis in the championship, or is that going to be a little tough?
It's a tall order, isn't it? But you never know what can happen. You don't know if he's going to drop out for personal issues or get caught up in incidents. Do you know what I mean? Anything can happen. So all I want to do is just carry on plugging, try and get a podium, try and get a win, and ultimately try and finish ahead. And if you can do that, then what's not to say that you can have it down to sort of the last few rounds at the end of the season? You know what I mean? That's the aim. But aim every week is just try and do a podium, try and finish as best as you can, as high as you can. So pressure's on Lewis. It's his to lose, isn't it? So he's just going to make sure he does the perfect second half of the season, and go from there.
Yeah, and you had a really awesome qualifying effort. You started in second place, right on the outside, and had a really great start with Grabowski. Were you trying to just keep Grabowski in sight, or what was your plan before Grabowski spun it out on himself?
I wanted to try and stick behind Grabowski and just put the pressure on. You know what I mean? He's often spins in. I think he's spun in every race, hasn't he? Pretty much. So I thought if I just try and get behind him and put the pressure on. Fortunately, Alex comes round the side of T1, makes a bit of contact. It's luckily time 0, no damage. And then he sort of gets pulled along by Steve, but then he starts falling back to me. And by the time I've sort of got past Alex, it's about 2 seconds or 2.5 seconds. So I thought there's no point trying to chase it down. Just let it be what it will be. You know what I mean? There's a chance he's going to spin later in the race. If I just keep plugging a nice pace, then you know what I mean, it'll come to me. And unfortunately, it did. Under quite a bit of pressure from Lauren behind, she came back from a couple of spins. But yeah, I just thought keep plugging, keep my pace, make sure I'm comfortable. I don't want to push unnecessarily and risk losing the win and spinning out. Do you know what I mean? Because that's happened in the past where I've been out leading and spanning F2 races and F3 races, and you know what I mean. Just it's best just to keep with a pace that you're comfortable with and happy with, and then if you're overtaken, then stick behind him and put the pressure on.
So that last 10 laps, Lauren Tilsley was catching you, and she was catching you about a second a lap almost, until she spun out right behind, I believe it was Alexander Shanna, lost about 5 seconds and brought you down to almost 3 seconds at the end of the race. Were you watching how fast she was coming, and were you preparing yourself for a battle?
I could see
or
the 48s. I saved my DRS to the end, so I just thought if she sort of gets within sort of 2.5 seconds, I'm going to start putting the hammer down a bit more and pushing a bit more. But I just thought, I sort of calculated to the end of the race. I just thought, you know what I mean, I can pass the finish line with a 1 to 2 second gap at this pace, so I'm happy with this pace. And I just thought, if she sees the time coming down, she's potentially going to push harder, and then there's more chance of her spinning. Whereas me, if I'm just happy just ploughing in 150s, 149s at a comfortable pace where I know I'm not going to spin, I'm happy to do that. So,
well,
cruising,
you did,
mate, just cruising.
You did everything right today, Chris. You got yourself on top of the podium. You got your first IFL win, and now it's only more to come. You're still up top. You're still I believe it's second place now that Ivan Baukamp finished in 4th. So I believe that now moves you back into second position in the points, in a nice battle with Baukamp.
Hopefully I should pick up best. Yeah, so wow. So looking back at the incidents, Lauren had 15 incidents. 15 incidents points. Louis. Ivan had 18, so he should have had a drive-through. Alex Gutnacht had 26, you know what I mean? So I got away. I put 1 incident lap. I got 1 times 1.
That would make sense why Ivan Baukamp came into the pits on the checkered flag lap. That might have been him trying to serve his drive-through. But yeah, you definitely get that extra point for safest drive, I believe, because everybody I can see has got at least 15 off tracks, and you've only got 3. So
I got 1. I think I might have picked some up at the end when we were doing donuts after the finish line.
Gotcha. So yep. But yeah, definitely
just the 1.
A great race, man. Great points day, 26 points. Who do you want to thank, man, for your first IFL win?
Thank myself.
That is
all
definitely
the hard
for
work
sure.
and effort. Nah. So thanks to the team, the sponsors, you know what I mean, and everyone that runs the league and the broadcast as well. You do a fantastic job, Rob. So keep up the good work, and so thanks to everyone at IFL. It's a pleasure.
Well, congratulations on your win, Chris. Hopefully we see more to come here in the rest of the season. 8 more races to go. We've got 1 more week at Interlagos, and then we take a little break. So good luck next week when we hit Brazil, and try to keep up that pace, man. That momentum is really going to drive you into the break.
That's the plan, mate. That's the plan. Take care, Rob.
Yep. Congratulations to Chris Byram, the winner of the American Grand Prix, taking it home for the Kuda Works team. A double Kuda Works podium for Lewis Archer and Chris Byram. But what a race we had here today. Just absolutely insane. Let's take a look at our race results, Chris Byram coming home the winner, with Lauren Tilsley battling hard to within 2 seconds at the end. Lewis Archer coming home in third. Finishing out the rest of our field from our podium, Louis Cologne finishes in fourth. Ivan Baukamp, looks like he got that time added on to the end of his pit time, so he comes home in fifth position. Alex Gutnick comes home sixth. Don Day in seventh. Daniel Thomas comes home eighth place, with Eric Beddoes and Nick Marshall rounding out our points and the top 10. Steve Bunting in 11th. Stuart Gibbons 12th. Steve Grabowski with a really, really good run at the beginning of the race ends up 13th position. Alexander Shanna comes home 14th. And Jason Simons, also with a great run at the beginning, comes home in 15th position. Very tough break for a few of these drivers. But that's what happens sometimes when you're racing, especially here at Circuit of the Americas. Once again, want to give a big shout out to our sponsors. We want to thank Butt Kicker and LTD Designs, Majors Garage. You guys, we really appreciate all your support for our league and everything we do. And until next week, when we go to Interlagos, we will see you then. But make sure you tune in tomorrow, 3:45 Eastern Time, for the IFL F3 American Grand Prix, right back here at Circuit of the Americas. It is going to be a race you do not want to miss. From everybody here at the IFL, I am Rob Slider. Y'all have a wonderful night.